What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing a thing that a lot of designers dread, and that is creating my portfolio website. Now I must admit I've been sleeping on this for a hot minute now, and I think it's time that I just bite the bullet and do it. I feel like I'm at a place where I've got enough projects, enough client work as well under my belt, that I can therefore show off to prospective clients and just basically have a home for all my stuff, all my work. So yeah, if you're creating your own portfolio or you haven't done yet and you want to, then I hope this video will help you out in some way. But yeah, without any further ado, let's get right into it. So for my portfolio, I have chosen to use Squarespace to host the website. Now, I've chosen Squarespace just because I have used them before in a previous portfolio that I had, and I have already found a template whilst browsing the website that I really like. But yeah, you don't have to use Squarespace at all. This video isn't sponsored by Squarespace, by the way. But yeah, if you've got Adobe Creative Cloud, for example, they have a platform, like a web hosting platform, that you can use that's a part of their subscription service. I think it still is. The last time I checked it was. Or you can use another website like Wix or Webflow or something like that. I found that they're all pretty similar in terms of features and stuff you can do with them. So I'd recommend just going on each website that you sort of find, whether that's Wix, Webflow, Squarespace or whatever it is. Just look at all the templates that they've got. If you find one that you really like, and it's on Wix, for example, or it's on Webflow, then just go with that one because they're all pretty similar. After much deliberation, I'm going to pick this one in the middle here just because it's fairly simple and clear. And the template itself also uses a portfolio example that has some similarities to my own work as well. So that's kind of like another key factor of why I've chosen to use this one. But yeah, I just recommend going through each template that you like the look of, seeing how it interacts with you using it. I think most importantly, see how well it transfers to the mobile version of it. Just because I think it's the norm that everyone's on their mobile phones nowadays. For me personally, if I'm checking out another person's portfolio or if I'm buying something, then it's usually on my mobile phone. So yeah, I think that's just another thing to keep in mind. Now that I've got my template sorted, I've gone ahead and I've done a bit of a storyboard just to kind of plan out each section on the website and the kind of content I want to put in each page. But yeah, I definitely recommend you guys planning it out ahead of time. It just makes it a lot easier, a lot less stressful, as opposed to kind of like going in head first and winging it. It's not there to kind of like stick to rigidly. You can obviously change things about and change the plan, but it's just there as a reference and it will definitely help you out along the way. Alright, so I've just drafted my homepage. Now, after many revisions, it's took me ages to do this, I'm not going to lie. I always feel like, especially with design projects as well, I think this is linked, but when you start something new especially, and you don't know exactly what sort of like the destination is going to be or like what the finished piece is going to be, you kind of like, you're testing different things out, you're testing different layouts out, and stuff like that, testing different colors out. But essentially, initially I had just a statement at the top with a picture of me next to it, and I just felt like it weren't direct enough or straight to the point, and I felt like that could be reserved for my about page instead. So essentially at the top I've got a work section which has two images. One is linked to the branding section on my portfolio and the other one is linked to the illustration page, and then underneath that I've got my YouTube section with two of my latest videos. Just because I felt like it wouldn't fit into any other page, it just wouldn't make sense. So I've got that on the home page a bit further down. And then the last thing I've got is my recent post section for Instagram, and this is directly linked to Instagram. I felt like I was overcomplicating it, so this looks quite simple, but I quite like how simple it is and straight to the point. The next section that I've got to do is the branding part. I kind of want to do it in order, so I'm going to go to the branding section next, and if you see on the top right, I've got all my sections laid out. So I'm just going to go through them one by one. I've chosen 4 specific projects that I want to include and showcase on my branding page that are kind of like a mix of the most up-to-date projects and the ones that I think are the best in terms of quality. I think 4 is probably on the slimmer end in terms of number of projects. I probably won't have any less than 4. However, I think 4 is fine as long as they reflect what you want to do and are kind of like your strongest projects. So the first project that I picked to showcase is Kiln, which is a glass studio branding project that I did recently. I actually did a video about this on my channel, so if you've not checked it out already, be a legend, go check it out. And yeah, I just love the branding that I did for this. I think it's probably one of my best pieces to date. Next up I've got Cheddar, which is like a vegan cheese brand. Again, another video that I did. You can see like a recurring theme here. Go check it out if you haven't already. But yeah, that's also one that I'm really proud of and that I want to show. And then the next one is a bit different. It's a bit more of a personal project for me, which is Mr. Brown, which I did as part of a branding project for my friend who started a maths tutoring business. It's like a one-to-one tutoring business for students that are going through A-levels and GCSEs. And that was an awesome project for me to do. And then finally I've got Teal, which I did as part of a design competition. But in terms of the layout within the projects, within each page of the projects, they're very similar, so I'll just show you one of them. But before I do, just to let you know here that you don't need to have like proper client projects to show. If you've got like, let's say you've done like 6 passion projects of branding that you really like, or even just 4 like I have, then that's absolutely fine. You don't need to have all these like real life client projects to show, because at the end of the day, the people that are viewing your portfolio don't actually know whether it's real or not. They're just seeing the work, and if the work's good, then everything's good. So in terms of these pages then, I've broken the pages into a title and a brief description, a few images to show the project itself, and then just like a brief outline of the idea I wanted to pursue whilst I was creating the design solution, followed by some more images and then a brief summary of the actual application of my solution and also my final thoughts as well. And that's it. You don't need to go into every last detail. I think the imagery can say a lot for itself, and the copy is kind of just supplementary to give sort of essential context to the project. But I think it's easy to overthink this part. You don't need to like go into every single decision you made along the way in the process. Just make it nice and brief for each part, and yeah, you're good to go. So moving on to the illustration page now, and I'm not going to limit the amount of pieces that I put on this page, just because they're not as elaborate as the branding projects. They're just going to be single images. I've got a fair few illustrations that I've yet to put on here, but I've still got a fair few that I've already added, so this is going to be fine for now. So the next section up is a shop section, and this by far has been the most time consuming page that I've done for the site, just because I hadn't decided what I was actually going to sell and how I was going to go about it. So I've always wanted to sell my illustration stuff in one form or another, and for like the past week I've been debating whether to go down one of 2 routes. So the first route being that I would just sell the artwork outright on the website, so someone could go on there and see the illustration and want to buy it, and I could sell them the files to it, so they would own the artwork themselves and they could use it on physical products like merch, or you know, whatever it is, like hoodies, t-shirts, you know, it could be anything. Or I could go down that route myself and sell the physical products myself. So I'll go down that route for now, just because it's going to be a bit easier for me to do. And yeah, so as you can see, I've just finished adding a couple of products to my shop, and I've got this really cool illustration that I turned into a print, and this really sick sticker sheet that uses like 5 of my illustrations that you saw on the last page, the illustration page, just a second ago. So yeah, I'm going to try a physical product route for now, see how it goes and just review it in due time. But if anything, I think this shows you guys that, you know, it's okay not to have everything figured out just yet. You know, you can always sort of tweak everything as you go. Not everything has to be ready and perfect to put your portfolio out there. I mean, technically this is not part of my portfolio because it's the shop section, but I've always wanted to sell my illustration stuff, like I said. So yeah, I thought I'd just show it to you guys, and I'll be updating it anyway as I go. I just thought I'd start with 2 products for now, keep it small, keep it simple for myself, see how it goes. On to the next one. So next up on the list is the blog section. So I've just got the 1 blog post ready to go now, and I've written a piece about the Keychron K2V2, which is this like cool mechanical keyboard here. But yeah, this is something that of course I will build up over time, and just having the 1 post is fine to get me going. So let's move on to my about page now, and I didn't really want to waffle with this. Just a paragraph or 2 I think is sufficient enough. I also wanted to include a picture of myself, and I think this is important to show yourself, especially if it's a personal brand. And finally, I've got my work with me section, and this is like another self-explanatory page. So this is like my equivalent of a contact page, and all I've included is a simple contact form for clients to fill out to get in touch with me. And that's just about everything covered. So I really wanted to end this video with giving you guys some tips and advice, especially if you're using Squarespace to build out your portfolio. And this is just from what I've experienced when I've been creating my own site, and it's kind of just the things that I wish that I knew beforehand. And the first thing that I would say is it is definitely worth getting familiar with all the editing tools and features within Squarespace before you do get started. So in order to do this, I'd highly recommend you guys create a test page within your website, just so that you can go into your site styles and tweak and edit anything that you really want to. So this ranges from fonts to colors to buttons and anything in between. And the last thing that I would say is to make sure that the mobile version looks right. So Squarespace did a pretty good job of translating the desktop version of my site into the mobile version, but I did have to make quite a lot of small tweaks to it. There were some issues with spacing and other things, but in general it did a pretty good job. And as always, thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy the video, then please leave a comment down below on what you think about the site that I've created in this video. Don't forget also to click on the bell icon to make sure that you get notified whenever I drop a new video, and subscribe for more content.